Oh, you got your orange on tonight, huh? Oh, is that red? Is that red or orange? I don't know. I gotta figure out with this, like
The light make it look orange, but it's red.
light burn, like the, he got costumes that he wears, so you gotta wait till the very last minute.
To
Gotta
put his
do my
camera
homework
on up.
until we can afford one.
See, you gotta wait till the very last minute to see what he gonna come out with on. Because he
Oh,
always got a special uniform outfit for him. Again, hey, first off, let me say happy post Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope you enjoyed your time with your family, giving and eating, and just being happy to spend time. I hope dads was able to get to see their kids and do the things they needed to do the way they needed to do it. Because it was that time for, even if people, I know a lot of people argue they don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but you don't got to celebrate the actual holiday, but celebrate the opportunity to come together with your people and your family. Be
sure.
thankful for that. You ain't got to be talking about the pilgrims and all that. But you can say, I'm thankful for the pilgrimage of all my family members being in a place for a happy moment, not for a
Mhm.
funeral or something bad, because a lot of times we
Mhm.
don't get those opportunities. Well, and with that being said, that brings us into the night's topic. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. If you and I say that if you on Instagram and you heard the music that went with this tonight, that music was Bobby Womack. If you think you're lonely now, wait until the night. I just put that on there because I thought that went good. If you miss me, you're gonna really miss me when I'm gone. So again, I want to welcome people. Remember, like, share, subscribe to the Fatherhood Think Tank. I'm Ron Osborne Williams. Welcome to the Fatherhood Think Tank tonight. We have our fathers on here. Then we'll let them introduce ourselves, and then we're gonna get into this conversation. Um, Tonight, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone, and we know this is gonna listen. One thing about the Fatherhood Think Tank, you might think the topic going one way, but it might go a whole nother way. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Fathers,
I'll jump in first since I'm the old man of the group. Good evening, everyone. How's everyone? Glad to be here. Larry Jordan, two grown adults, one grandchild. Happy to be with you gentlemen tonight.
All right. Glad to have you, LJ. My name is Johnny Gaspard, father of two young adults, 25, 24 and 21. I got a chance to hang out with them this Thanksgiving, so Ron, you were so on point. Having the kids home was a blessing. Um, Great to be here as usual. Excited about this topic because, like Ron said, it could go in a multitude of ways. So I'm excited to be here with the rest of you fathers.
Good evening, fathers. J. Rob Menard, father of two young adults.
Okay, Rob. kept it quick.
Yeah, he did. Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Lionel Lightborn. I'm a father to a tribe of seven young adults, uh, four young men, three young women, one granddaughter, and a soon-to-be grandson that's on the way.
Your kids sound grown like LJ's kids because you got grandkids. So
Yeah. No, I said young adults. Oh, I
no,
came with
see, you say young adults. LJ said he got two grown kids. That's
okay.
and when you say grandchildren, I say, yeah, you sound like LJ with the grown kids. That's all I was messing with
Oh
you.
yeah, well, I got some grown ones there.
All right, Ron, we got Jay and Lee on there. An explosion management. Who's that? Anybody?
I think Lee gonna be an observer right now. He said he's gonna be listening in.
Okay.
Explosion management. I'm not sure who that is, but they can chime in or join
they
in whenever they
might,
feel
they
like.
might be listening in. I give. Hey, if you want to speak now. Forever hold your peace. If not,
All
we're
right,
gonna.
I'll
We're
speak.
gonna Oh, okay. Go. Well, we know
I'll
Jay.
speak. I'll
Jay, I know
speak.
you're gonna speak. So go
Yeah,
ahead, my brother.
everybody know me already. I'm Jay. I'm a father of 5, starting from a 12-year-old son to a 7-month-old son. And I'm always enjoying my moments of being here with you gentlemen, per usual.
All right, so y'all believe in the lottery numbers. There you got 7. What is it? 7, 7? 7
Yeah.
son 7. So hey, check that lottery number with you.
All right, Ryan.
I think Brian Person just joined us so he can introduce himself and then we can get this party started.
Oh, yeah.
Unmute yourself, bro.
Unmute yourself, Brian.
We can't hear you.
Hit that microphone button.
Y'all done made Brian freeze. Oh, I thought he froze.
Don't worry about it. I know Brian Persons, social worker extraordinaire, youth advocate, community
you got
advocate.
somebody to introduce him for. You know how many kids?
Okay.
You know how many kids he got?
Community advocate. I know that he has a few grown adult kids. Preferably, I think close to my age, if not a little younger. I've been working with Brian in this business, social work for the last going on 15 years out of 27. So I've had the pleasure to know him and particularly advocate for him on the fatherhood front. He was working a part of the fatherhood task force in Miami-Dade County. So that's my fellowship with him. And he's a very astute young man. I always want to say he's a very astute young man. So that's Brian.
Amen. I know he appreciated that intro right there. All right, well, Ron, that's everybody.
And the one thing I can't wait when he get his microphone, because he'll be able to speak to us about all his siblings. I think it's very important. I think people don't think about this sometimes, that when we have a lot of siblings, for people who don't have a lot of siblings, it's a very exciting thing. I'm staying with a friend of mine now, and she got like 12 siblings.
Hey.
So it's very interesting when they get together and all the things they do and how they operate. And when you come from a little small family, two of y'all, 2 or 3, and you start doing like this, when it'd be like brother, sister, 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 brother, sister, brother, and sister. You'd be like, oh my God.
That I do understand.
And then keeping up with all their kids and their kids' kids.
That is a big Thanksgiving right there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right. I think that's everybody, Ron.
Okay. So listen, let me just throw it out there. This could go so many ways. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. And I think for me, one of the things I think about so often is, and I probably think a lot more about this because where I'm located now and the kind of things that's going on where I'm at is a lot of times we have an opportunity to be able to spend time as family members. We have opportunity to spend time with our family members. Fathers have opportunity to spend time with their kids. The kids have opportunities to spend time with their fathers. And vice versa. But a lot of times we kind of like waste that time or don't utilize it in the proper way. And so then when the person's gone, we feel like we got it cheated and we didn't get the full opportunity to everything that we could get with them. And so I think, on the father front, we have to sometimes, and it's hard, especially if you don't, if you are a father who might be a little bit disconnected or not fully engaged with your kid the way you want to be or the way you can be, your kid will miss you when you're gone, even if they don't talk to you ever, because they're missing you now that you're there. So I think it's double fold because they don't have the opportunity to say, oh well, the day I think I'll go into, I don't mess with him. I ain't got no dad. But it's a different thing when you really end up not really no longer having a dad. And not that you don't have one, but it's no longer accessible, no longer able to, hear their voice. And I know that a lot of times I hear this story and I hear the idea of kids and their dads getting closer when dads are on their deathbed, like right before they die, and then even how crazy it is that people find out they got brothers and sisters because dad on the deathbed.
At the funeral, yeah.
Or they find out afterwards that
Yeah.
dad at the funeral, and the other siblings show up who ain't never showed up before, and they had, they be at the funeral and at the stuff, wake falling down, and I can't believe he gone. I never got to spend time with him. And he kind of say, you kind of missing them, now that they gone, but you had opportunity. Even if it wasn't the one opportunity that you wanted, what does it mean about the opportunity, that they're not here anymore? And so, and that's just one. As I'm saying this, I'm thinking about a whole nother aspect of, sometimes people be gone and they don't have to be dead. They don't have to be inspired. They could be gone.
Yeah.
They checked out on you, like, they gone from you. And listen, we really and every I don't know. I mean, some of y'all might be too smooth and too slick, but y'all had that woman that gone. Maybe some of y'all wanted her to go, but some of y'all didn't. She gone. It was no more ever, like, and you miss her. You miss her today. You sometimes you look at your wife or look at your significant other and be like, man, wonder where she at. What she doing?
So you said I'm looking at the woman I went down and what?
And not in the negative sense, just the idea that sometimes we love the one we with, not the one we want.
Woo!
Yeah.
Boy, you trying to say we around here searching Facebook profiles, huh? Looking for them, huh?
Hey, that was that was the biggest thing that came out that got people back in that hot water. If we didn't have their Facebook, boy, some people, but again, I'm gonna say as much as it's a bad as a good, because some people was able to reconnect, be able to really reconnect with people, not just for that, but being reconnecting with people in this world that sometimes we just get disconnected. And you're able to, and it goes to our topic. You get to see them before they gone. You don't get to have to miss them when they gone. You get to catch up with them now. You don't have to find them. And I'm saying we talking about going to, celebrating in between the holidays, the Thanksgivings and the Christmas and the Kwanzas and the
Hanukkah. You're right.
Hanukkah, yeah, Hanukkah, and what all the other holiday times, that a lot of times if we're not spending these time really with the person, the only time we end up, really getting them is when they're gone, and then we missing them, and that's not the way, is that the way we really want to look at it? And that's just one aspect. I know you guys got a whole bunch of other ways to maybe break this. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. All I really see is I brought that in because I need to, as a host, bring in the fatherhood part. But all I see is that lady walking out the door, man. I keep seeing trauma. I think of that list, but a lot of us guys, man, that's trauma we got. We got trauma.
We say that's the one that got away.
Now, listen, it's a bunch of trauma. Listen, it's trauma, man. I can tell you it's trauma, especially because when women, listen, I find out when women make up their mind that your ass is out.
What R. Kelly said, when a woman's fed up.
Listen, you standing there, you think everything's sweet. She already got another apartment. She got another job.
Ron, I think you have the trauma of being single. Because you got too much fun.
Ron sound like he reliving, right?
Deviated so far.
Just doing the most tonight.
Right?
Come in from work, you walk around the house, say, babe, you here? Hey, what's for dinner? You go in that room. Only the stuff on your side of the closet there, brother.
Well, I got a totally different aspect, but okay.
Totally different.
We're gonna have to check his glass though. Check his glass. Somebody check his glass.
Wow. You just totally didn't give me.
Listen, because he giving way too many vivid details.
They're not my.
Wow,
hey, listen, hold on. Let me make it clear. They're not my memories. They're memories that have been impressed upon me. You know, y'all forget I sit in front of people with these kind of things all the time. So I have to hear about, you know.
It's true.
Listen, I only say this because I have sat in sessions where people have decided the guy agreed. I think the guy has agreed to come to therapy to work on the relationship. And I don't know why he there now, because it's over. It's very clear that this lady's just there to appease that she been asking you to go for all this time, and now y'all there. She just there, and she basically waiting for the moment that she gonna break it down, so we'll be in a setting where if I need to call
safe space
for you in the session, you call it, take you right on down to Baker Act, you know, whatever needs to happen, because she about to break you in that session, brother. She gonna tell you, oh, that's too bad, because you know I only came here because you was finally ready, but I'm already ready. I'm you know.
Well, let's move it away from the painful heartache and heartbreak that Ron is talking about, that some of us men have had to go through, where we finally decide to do right, and she's like, it's the wrong time. Going back to, as you said, so many topics, and even starting off from the fatherhood perspective, as far as missing them when they're gone. I even think about that from the perspective of a father deciding, you know what, as you shared before, I'm done. I'm gonna just wait. I'm gonna just chill to the side. When y'all get older, I'm gonna deal with it, because clearly mom doesn't understand the value of me in these children's lives, and the fight that I'm dealing with, the emotional, the mental aspect of it. You know, I'm just sending her the child support, and when y'all get older, we'll talk about it. And mom may not, in that moment when you were fighting, didn't think that it was worth it. She didn't think you were valuable. But now that you're no longer even communicating with her, and that's one of the things that I learned, is when you cut it off as the man, when you say, I ain't talking to you no more, and you do that, they lose it. They, especially if she thought you was always going to be there because of some reason, whether it be the children, whether it just be her, and you no longer, you're like, you know what? I think this is time for me to go about my separate way. And I think they don't believe you're ever going to do that. And then when you do, mom realizes, oh, he actually was important. He actually is important to them being present. But by the time she gets that, you're so stepped back, and the kids have, unfortunately, in their own mind, gotten to the point where they don't even understand the value of you themselves. It's not until, as Ron said, and you guys have shared, when they get older and they realize, I'm missing my father. I never had that in my life, and now they want to get that. But you that period of whatever that time was when they were a little kid till becoming an adult, they missed you, and mom missed you. She didn't even realize she missed you till you were gone, till you were no longer fighting. And I think is when the kids are now older and they say to her, why you didn't let us be with our dad? Why you didn't let us talk to him? That's when she realizes the impact of how much he may have had, or his not being present was, on the kid. And she ultimately realizes that, oh, I did all of this extra work for nothing. I could have really had him involved, and that would have saved me a whole lot of headache and stress. So and she knew that the moment you no longer were communicating and was gone. And I think that happens more often, but we don't see it that way, because the person, as you guys said, is still there. They're still alive. So we don't see it that way. But in actuality, it impacts them, and they do miss them. And a lot of times they don't even know they miss them till the kids get older. And then they realize, oh yeah, I did miss it. My children didn't miss out on that. I didn't miss out on that. And I went through this rough and unnecessarily difficult road when I could have made it easier on myself and the kids. So that's the one, from a father perspective, that I see all the time, especially in the legal part that I do in when I'm handling these cases that I don't like to do anymore. But go ahead.
I think I'm gonna take it from a little bit different perspective. when it comes to that is, are you creating an environment to be missed from, right? Because a lot of times we're not creating, how you say that, memories, traditions, and things to do with our kids in order for them to one day say, I miss your presence. And it doesn't have to be when you're gone. It can be if you're just absent from an event. If you're always somewhere rooting your kids on, and one day you can't make it because you got to work, are they missing you? You see what I'm saying? Are they going to be like, man, I wish you were there? Or are you creating a pattern of, he don't show up anyway. He's not really there anyway. I can't count on him. And so I think that's another thing that we have to look at as fathers is, are we creating those moments and engaging our kids in a way where we can be missed? And it doesn't have to be, we haven't to wait till we die, or if we are no longer in the home. While we're in the home, are we missed? And I think once you start to engage and become that person that has a presence, it's a lot more impactful now. And I think after you're gone, they're gonna realize how much more they miss you. You see what I'm saying?
Good point, Gene. Good point.
Well, Gene is hitting something right on the head, and I think that in my observation of fathers, you see some fathers who are very engaged. Like I know some guys who are so engaged with their kids that the kids almost get anxiety when they have to do things and dads are not there. Just like they do with mom. Like their dad is there and it's like, oh, my dad's not here. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to perform. I'm going to be able to do this and do that. And that happens. I mean, I think, but that's just parenting, happens with parents. But imagine being able to decide that are not really seeing, and that we don't think happens, how engaged some dads are with their kids, that it becomes that kind of thing that kids do miss. I think Gene hit it on, is bamming right in, because if we don't set the tone for our kids to miss us, it ain't nothing to miss. Like if I don't know anything about eating breakfast in the morning, if I never had breakfast, when people say, oh, you had breakfast in the morning, oh, I don't even know nothing about that. I don't even know what it means to have that. I don't even, you can't miss something that you ain't have. And so that's a big thing we have to think about. But as the parents, we have to know that our kids need breakfast in the morning. So they need to have us in their life. See, that's what the problem where it comes. We gonna say, well, everything's okay, but not everything's okay. Oh, they made it. I made it. They'll make it. No, they may not make it because they won't live in the same society today. They have way more influences. And I'm probably saying this because, man, I've been watching some things here where I'm at now, and I realized that large majority of, and I think that I had already had this in my mind in South Florida and when I was in Jacksonville and now in Philadelphia, is that a lot of the violence we have in our communities with our young men killing each other is a large part of them not having fathers.
Oh, without a doubt.
You don't see very many of the situations. This is like, these guys' dads are anywhere, are even acknowledgement of their dads, or even like, I've listened to a guy, I listened to this guy on the video the other day, and he said, oh, he ain't got no dad, so it don't matter if you talk about his dad, because I ain't got one, right? He said that. And then second, he was in the interview and they said he graduated high school, he got a job at the post office because he had a kid on the way. And he said he left the job at the post office because he didn't like how people was talking to him. I said, what? Like people talking to you to become a drill rapper, to shoot each other up in a self. And I said to myself, so you left your pension job, a job with the government job that you was set at 18 years of age, that you could have retired and got a double pension from somewhere. Yep. Because of how somebody talked to you. And I felt like you must have had no dad talk to you, because nobody like how their dad talked to. Even when my dad talked to me sometimes, I'd be like, hey, man, hold on, man. Who you talking to? Hold on, what?
Yeah.
A grown man, when he talked to me, it feels some kind of way. But I guess what he's saying, I have to listen because it has wisdom. It has his own experience in it. And it has the part of me that's in him in it. So he, you know, it's one of those things you really gotta really process that our absence as fathers.
There you go.
Is really probably the biggest part of, you know, some of the ills in our society, in our culture, and what's happening with our people, you know, and we have to find a way to get back in. And I know people say, "Oh, we're gonna mentor the kids. We're gonna listen." We don't have a mentor has no capital. You have no capital because guess what? You substitute. You're not the real thing.
Your access isn't there the same way a father's access is.
Right.
So it definitely plays that. Well, Lightborn been itching to jump in. Go ahead, Lightborn. Go ahead. Because I know that
I see the wheels turning in LJ head, so I want to hear from him, and I'm gonna come right behind.
You know what? I'm glad Ron brought up that point because I was almost embarrassed to bring up my point. It was basically this. I actually said this to my wife this week. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone because I was sitting around and everybody was calling me. She calling me, the kids calling me. You need to do this. Can you do that? What about this? What about that? I said, wait. I need some time for myself. It didn't even matter. No, you need to deal with this right now. You need to deal with me, you know. And I had gotten to the point, I said, y'all have become to me so needy that what's gonna happen when I'm gone? When I'm gone, what are you gonna do? And I think about, you know, especially my kids, their level of maturity, and you know, because my wife somehow she'll just make it. Somehow she just make it happen. But with the kids, you know, I worry about that because it seems as though they're so needy and dependent on what I'm doing, and unless I do it, nothing gets done. You know, and that's a problem in my mind. So I'm like, man, y'all better tighten up because you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. I'm not gonna be here forever. And guess what? I don't want to be here forever. You know? So I thought about that this week, and but I was embarrassed to say that. So
but LJ, I wouldn't be, you know, and I think that this is important on this platform that that's an important thing to be heard and to be able to say, because that is, listen, I got that same thing the other day on the telephone, you know, about it's odd that I'm not somewhere that I was before. It's not the same. It's like the house is different, that I'm not staying where I was stayed before because probably all the stuff I did, and you just don't imagine all the stuff that you do. And so often we hear about what sometimes fathers don't do, right?
Yeah.
Or what not happening, and what we hear these things, but we really don't think about all the things that they do. And that when people realize and recognize in our absence of what we do. And that's a big, and I'll tell you, it's very flattering. I'll say, maybe I think the word would be flattering, modest, to hear them say, you know, I never thought about all the stuff that you do. I never thought about how much I missed not having you here. Because you don't hear that very often. That's not, you don't hear that very often.
Yeah.
You know, you don't hear somebody saying, you know, I really appreciate the stuff you used to say to me and how you used to tell me about stuff and the things you used to do, because so often it's not until you, and then it goes right back to the argument I was making. If you don't experience, you don't know. And because they experienced that from you, now they have a knowledge of what it means to have that, and they want to have more of it. You know, anybody wants to have that. That's why your daughter, you know, that's why daughters who have fathers want to pick men who like their fathers, not Pookies and Ray Rays, you know.
Okay.
Go ahead, Lightbird. Go ahead.
I see some great Pookie and Ray Rays as fathers. They do great jobs.
Listen, I'm not
outside
talking about
the
those
title.
Pookies and Red Reds. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about them.
Oh, you mean some Sweet Willies?
Yeah, them too. But go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
Some of them green eye guys.
Yeah. So, but I'm gonna come for this is another perspective for me because I think when I look at this topic, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. I think it's the closest a rational and responsible parent can get to being suicidal. Again, let me say it again. It's the closest a rational and responsible parent can get and will get to being suicidal. It's the science of appreciation versus the science of unappreciation. Usually, when I encounter this particular motto or saying, "You're gonna miss me when I'm gone," it's because a parent is at a point of being unappreciated by the people that they appreciate. And so I think it's a saying that derives from depreciation or feeling depreciated when you've given so much. And I think it's one of those sayings that's probably been coined by Big Mama. You understand that when she's at her lowest point or when she's experienced some type of depression or some type of mental health episode, because you got to understand no matter how strong a person is, they still have a science to their weakness. So you're going to miss me when I'm gone can be uh, when you really, and now that I'm a parent, I can understand it. When you feel like you just can't get through to the people who can't seem to reciprocate the love and the sacrifice, and not so much the sacrifice, but at least their love and appreciation it takes for you to be who you are, the type of parent that you are. And so I think it's a universal term that transcends for generations. And again, it's the closest a responsible or reasonable person can get to being suicidal. So that's my mental perspective from it. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I like
talk,
that.
Man, I get something every time you talk. Go ahead.
I agree with Lightborn on that, but I'm taking what LJ said and also what Lightborn is saying, and I think that you have the two sides of a spectrum there, right?
You do?
Because
I thought they were saying the same thing.
Not
Like they were saying the same thing, but go ahead.
I'm gonna see if I can explain what I'm saying. So you have the depression side, like Bon was saying, right? Where it is a sense of I do so much, you're ungrateful, and so it drives it, and because the appreciation is not reciprocated, it can drive you to a state of depression, right? But I also see and that's one end, and then what LJ is coming from is a sign of a rock, right? They come to you because you're the rock. They know if I come to you, it's gonna get done. You are the driving force, and you're the head of everything that's going on. And if you can't do it, nobody can do it, right? But from LJ's perspective, what he's seeing is, y'all got to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. Like, it's not you're using me. It's I need you to be more independent, because when I'm gone, you're not going to be able to stand on your own. And so you have the two sides of that spectrum, in which I'm glad that, like I said, Lightborn said we said, because somewhere in the middle is an understanding where once you get both halves to the middle, that's where you're going to find yourself in more of a balance, so to speak, where you are the one that's the rock, but then you don't feel like you're being used, or you don't feel like it's a dependency. You're understanding that it's just a reassurance, so to speak. Because sometimes, and I'll be honest with you, people will come to you to do things that they can clearly do themselves, right?
Yeah.
And that's where the using comes. That's where you feel like, yo, you could have done this yourself. Why are you coming to me and bothering me, right? Mm-hmm. But on the same fold, it's because they just want that interaction with you. So it's a matter of understanding and balancing. It's like it's a fine line to teeter on either side, if that makes sense.
Good point.
No, you make a lot of sense, but I guess if I had to just sum it up, I'm coming from a depression standpoint, but LJ is coming from a regression standpoint. And so he's saying when they come to ask him to do stuff that they can clearly do themselves, then he feel like, wow, everything I taught you and everything you see me do, and the fact that you can't do it yet, that shows a sign of regression, as opposed to me saying, I'm going to mention from my standpoint where I felt like, okay, it's not being reciprocated or appreciated, then that brings a sign of depression for me. And so here it is, the same, we experiencing the same thing, just from different aspects.
Gotcha.
And that's being the depression versus the regression side.
He's so scientific with it. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I like to say one thing, man. I don't know if maybe someone had said it before. You're going to miss me when I'm gone. And I'm the guy who talk about numbers. We have a problem where many moms are dying. Moms are dying at birth. And just think about this, having a baby born into this world and the mother is dead. These are very challenging times for a lot of mothers out there. And I want to put that out there because, we as men, we have our mindsets, and we obviously on this group, we're trained. But, okay.
Elder Thomas, you got to mute.
Let's do this thing. Mr. Thomas, there we go. All right. So we talked about moms are dying, yeah. And we talked about we know that this is a problem that continues today, and for many different reasons. Some say obesity, some say diabetes, some say blood pressure. We have to support our moms in they say the last trimester before she give birth, and then sometimes after she gives birth, we have to support her, even though sometimes moms can be a bit.
Amen to that. Go ahead.
They can be a bit difficult to deal with, but we as fathers, we have to advocate. We are seeing a big problem with, again, when we're going to miss you when you're gone, with moms not being around to support their children. And we know both father and mom play an important role, including the village. So that's what I see when I say I miss my mom. I didn't have a chance to meet her. So I just want to put that out there.
But can that work? Can that work both ways, though, Rahan?
I would talk about, okay.
No, I mean, I'm just asking. You're describing an example of moms dying in childbirth or what have you, so the kid will miss their mom. And right. This has always continued to be my argument when I hear that statement made about moms not being there and how bad this is for kids. And I say, well, how about it's hard for kids to not have any parent, period. So not the moms I know moms is, again, we take traditional mom is for the nurturing, and it would be amazing if a kid had to be raised without a mom. But there are tons of kids are raised without moms and just their dad and whoever else the dad has to help him. But I'm making this, I'm only interjecting here to make a point about if we can understand how important it is if a woman was to die in childbirth, how that will mean for that kid. Why can't we understand that for that child being born with his mom and dad not being in the same capacity?
Ooh. Yeah, I was saying, the same energy that we put upon on each other, like the woman and the man, when they're doing the do, planting their seed, and there's a baby coming. I think the same energy, whether it's a man or a woman, husband or wife, to support each other, because tomorrow's not promising any of us.
Well, Elder, the problem with that energy is that sometimes the energy is for that moment. I didn't have the energy to raise no child. I had a residue to plant the seed, but I had no energy to raise no child. What did the Honorable Dr. Rossi Osborne Officer tells us? I didn't plan that. I didn't go into that to have no. I wanted to.
They didn't go for the child. They went for the child. They went for the.
So they put in a whole lot of energy in that sex. but they didn't have no intention to put that energy for the child. So that's why, unfortunately, you may not have one or the other. And we come back to that age-old thing that is mother's baby and father's maybe, because, and I think that's where the issue is come to, Ron, when you ask your question, is that oftentimes the father can decide that ain't mine. That's some other dudes. I'm out. She can't say that's somebody else's child because it came out of her. And she can either choose to not be a mom and give up that child, or she can choose to be the best mom that she can be and pray that there's some support to help her. But the father has a choice where he can say, most times, I'm not saying he can say that's not my direction. So Elder Thomas, coming back to your point, but that's why the energy is different. Good, moving forward. So how you gonna miss me when I'm gone? And what I wanted to say, I know when I heard Lightborn, LJ, and Gene said that, I was like, man, think about it. You here, but you not. I'm working, putting in the work. I'm being taken for granted. They ain't think I'm like, sometimes I think my wife be thinking the garbage just get to the front of the street by itself. Like, I really do be thinking she feel that way. And I, like, the other day, I said, what you gonna do with the garbage, when I ain't there to move the garbage? She said, well, I'm gonna have to call my daddy. That's what she said. I said, you know what? I'm gonna leave that alone. But I tell her that because, yeah, we do get taken for granted as far as men and fathers in the household when we are present, because we just do what we do. So a lot of times we're not even thinking about it. We're just doing it because that's who we are. And then all of a sudden it becomes an expectation. And the moment you're not present to do it, it's like, okay, why are you not doing this? What do you mean? You can do that too. It doesn't necessarily mean, but it changes. And when we're gone, a lot of times, like I said, they don't think that's a big deal. So when I taking the garbage to the corner is not a big deal. But when you ain't there no more, they were like, man, I had to take the garbage out. I don't know when last I did that.
You're right. Changing the light bulb. Changing the light bulb. I mean, I know that a lot of people practicing right now when they doing the social media challenge, putting the phone on the ceiling. But normally people not doing that. What they'll say, oh, I've walked in people's house and you hear the beep of the fire.
The fire alarm.
You hear they got lights that's out in their house. And guess what? As soon as I walk in, I say, hey, why this out? Oh, because I don't know how to get up down there. And next thing I know, I find myself walking in somebody's house doing all these minor chores.
Yeah.
That really a father or man would do. And then guess what? It's nothing to do it, but it's almost like what you do. And I heard a man say this on social media recently. Everything that we do as men, we supposed to do. So you ain't getting no congratulations, no appreciation. Everything that you do, you're supposed to do. And if you don't do any of those things, you deadbeat. So if you're not, it's no curve. It sometimes feels like it's no curve. Either you got to make a 100, and you got to be 100. And guess what? You don't got to just be 100 generally. You got to be 100 specifically for the person that you with. So you might have been 100 across the board, but that one person wants you to be 100 for the things that they want, the way they want them in that relationship. And if you're not, it's gonna be bad. You're gonna be bad. You're gonna be negative. It's gonna be deadbeat. It's gonna be sorry, man. He's not good. Where in the other instance, we just would like to sometimes. And I think that just goes to LJ's point. Just get some appreciation, just to be able to say, "Nah, Dad, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, honey. I'm gonna do it."
Right.
We want to be
garbage out. I want to, Ron. I want to help that. Let's see what explosion management. Go ahead. If you got something to chime in, go ahead. Now's your time.
Who?
Explosion gentleman on here. Just you gotta unmute. You gotta unmute. You gotta unmute yourself. Hit that microphone button.
Who's that, Brand?
Hey, all right.
All right,
Okay, you're good.
you
Yeah,
know,
we hear you
hear
now.
you now.
I'm sorry, fellas. My name is Sean Terrell. I have one child who's middle age. He's 11 years old. But I was trying to figure out everything before and everything to get unmuted and all of that kind of stuff. So sorry for not tapping in the beginning of that roll call.
It's all good.
Yeah, but no, this is a very definitely an interesting topic. I do agree with a lot of the points about when we aren't there or we aren't allowed to be there. It does cause that confusion, and I mean, and it puts everybody, I guess, in a bad place when it comes to the little things. I don't know all the answers. I know in terms of living situations, my son actually lives in Michigan and I live in Florida. So, it's not always advantageous in terms of me being right there next to him, so I have to travel back and forth to Michigan and Florida, frequently. And that's something that I actually chose to do, but the things that I try to counter as far as our relationship and being there, I try to use the FaceTime as much as possible. I try to actually surprise him sometimes when I'm coming down and I hear about the games and things like that he's playing. I just make it a point to just do so, but I know it's not always, again, advantageous too, considering what your situation is with the mother as well. I mean, I think that's another thing that really came into play with me, because even when you talk about, that maybe that father's maybe and everything else, but those fathers who were like, look, no, I want to be there, but maybe I don't want to be there for you as far as the mother. That's when the stuff, and I know we started talking about the trauma and, how you feel and everything else when you get in that room and y'all both talking, and stuff can kind of go sideways. The first thing I'm always just thinking about is just like, it's about the kid, and I got to do what's best for my son, but that's where I'm at with it so far, just continuing to see my way through, continuing to, I think, effort is better than no effort, so, and I think, when we talk about kids missing us and everything, I know that my son appreciates the effort. And I mean, but that's coming with a lot of prayers and everything too, because it's sometimes where, again, it does knock you out, for a minute. You say, man, I wish I could be there, but that's when I just started leaning on the higher power with that, and praying more. But that's my take.
Hey,
Hold on, Sean. I didn't even know that was Sean. I know this guy.
Yeah.
Sean,
I didn't even know that was you.
I'm sorry. I finally chimed in and everything. I know I've been getting hit and everything. I'm like, I got to get on tonight. I'm just usually so busy.
Good, man. Good.
Yeah.
Well,
Sean,
welcome, fam. I'm grateful you came, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sean, you said some things, man. I really, really like, and I think that I love when a father comes on and he can speak about his own experience, because it's important for people to hear us as fathers and our experiences, and I think you said something, the effort, right? And it almost goes to the point I was making a minute ago. Sometimes people don't even appreciate our effort. They don't, they think that we should go sometimes beyond just the effort, and they don't understand that, listen, a flight ticket from Miami to Michigan round trip
during this time of the year,
it is close to $300 to $400 on top of if you have paid child support for the month. So
there it is.
And again, I had to tell somebody this the other day. I think the effort is also understanding Black men and understanding where we at as Black men, our financiality. And I think a lot of times people miscrew that because they're watching social media and they're watching people flodge and fake and do all these things that's not them. Right. Our average income for many of us, unless we superstar, that 35 to 70 that 35 to 70 is the average, and use that same language you're using, making an attempt to do the right thing. Listen, you can't afford, you can barely afford to go across town like that. If say they live in the same town every other day, the gas that is stay on east side and you stay on the west side, this and that, to be able to go and see his son, pick him up, and that's taxing in itself. And it's not that, and somebody, I know people hear this right now, oh, that sounds like excuses. But it's not an excuse. It's the reality of the real world we live in. Now, I promise you, dudes who got millions of dollars, ask some of them athletes. The $1 million athletes, listen.
Well, I could tell you.
There you go. Thank you. I know Johnny.
I'm kidding.
All right, Jimmy.
But we know that they have the money and they have the ability to say, like I told you, Rohan, remember we was in that court and the guy was there and he used to be an NFL football player.
I remember.
And his child support was $10,000 a month, but he never went when he stopped being an NFL football player to get an adjustment. And so he owed $1 million and something in back child support. That was two things happened. And when he had it, he didn't care. But he also didn't have the knowledge to know when you no longer have it down there and say, listen, I don't make that no more. I only make 35 because I got a job at the car dealership after the league, and I get paid on the commission. But listen, $10,000, the state saying, hey, $10,000, we still need our $10,000. And those are the kind of things that we, I always want to tell fathers, we have to be proactive. Just like we was trying to get in the punani, we need to be handling our business the same way when we had these kids.
Right.
Yes.
We got to handle our business. You can't be like, oh, child support, did she give me like this? Listen, half of those things wouldn't happen. I have personal clients that I work with that some of them don't come here, but some of the guys we have on here, people that we work with, fathers that don't have to go through that. And they're not going through that.
Right.
I mean, I got a father right now who is about to get complete custody of his son who lives in Texas because he done went to Texas twice.
Yeah.
Spend his money to go to Texas twice to turn back around in 24 hours without his son. Because she refused to do what the judge asked her, what the judge told her, thinking, that I can do whatever. And again, it started with the early advancements of him having a parenting plan. And at the same time that they was in good relations, getting her to sign saying that the authorization of the child would be in Broward County, not in Texas, because they was on good terms. Oh, he paid her money. He paid for Airbnb for her to stay in he did all the things. But then she didn't want to give him his full parental rights because she's the mom and he the dad. That used to be the man would call me. If you imagine, I wanted to say that you can imagine getting a call and I see his number and I know what he's calling me about. He was like, man, and this is what many fathers need. They need a place to vent to someone who is giving positive responses and be able to tell them the positive thing to do in that situation. I said, man, listen, he'll say, hey, it was Father's Day. And I remember I was relaxing. I think I might have been somewhere like New Orleans, whatever, and I was relaxing. He called me like 7 o'clock in the morning, Father's Day. I was like, oh, hello? Hey, what's up, man? Everything okay? He said, man, let me tell you something, man. This lady crazy. I said, calm down. And the issue was that he had a friend who was having a Father's Day thing. Everybody was going to bring their kids, go to the pool, this and that. Yeah. And the lady told him, nah, he can't be outside in the sun. So you can't go. So, yo, listen. And the man was he was like on 300. And I was just telling him that, listen, this is the way it goes. Until you go, listen, you're going to have to go down and get somebody like Johnny who don't want to do the work that
did not sound right, Ron.
Who want to write your motion, put your motion in play because you're not. And I say this because you have people out here giving people very bad advice. Oh, just go to the house.
Yes.
Bust in the house and get your kid because it's your kid. Listen, you busting in people's house, there's a couple things happen. If they got another man in the house, he might shoot you. In the state of Florida, Texas, Pennsylvania, he can shoot you, say you came in there domestic violence. Or you can do as our good friend would tell you, you say you want your kid, get a restraining order. And then now that mess up all your stuff that you got going on. And then now it looks like you are doing something bad instead of just saying, hey, be patient. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna map out what I need to do. The same way you mapped out to get like I said, we mapped out. We ain't just jump haphazardly in them draws. You mapped out some things of how you was gonna get there. Because if you did jump in there haphazardly, she wouldn't have the feelings she have about you.
Yeah.
If you was just a one night pop off or a jump off, it wouldn't be all this emotional feelings and things that's happening. She would just be like, listen, we had this baby. I don't even know you, but you want to take your part. You want to do, and I know many women like that. Are you going to do your part? Because I'm not going to have abortion or, whatever, blah, 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 all this stuff. But what they end up doing is being willing to, but when you done sweet nothings into the person's ear and you change the idea of who and what they and you are going to be, yeah, you're gonna get something. They want some get back. And I don't mean get back in a negative way. They want that broken promise to be a promise that's fulfilled. And I don't want to be with you.
Hey Ron.
Yes, sir.
I think person that will feel is a child.
A person that feel with what?
Okay, I'm saying if they're with the thought of our theme for the night, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. But how many are putting in the effort? If that's your child and you're supporting the child, why not put it out that you do what you have to do? And no one can come in your face and say you didn't do anything.
I hear you, Elder Thomas, but sometimes Elder Thomas, I'm gonna say that I agree 100% with you, but I also know that sometimes that's hard. And I only say it's hard because we know how difficult divorce can be for kids. Right? They have their two parents. They know how this is going to be. Now they don't have their two parents. They have to choose between the two parents and so that we know that's a standard one. But a lot of times for guys who are like not with the mom and wasn't with the mom and had these kids, it's a lot more difficult. It's even so much difficult that the child begins to have to. It's not like a normal thing where I know my dad, I know my mom, and I'm with. Like these kids are put into, some, and I'm not gonna say just the moms who do it. Sometimes the dads do it too. That they put into this place where the kid has to choose alliances, and you're gonna lose every time that a child. Look, my dad would have lost if I had to choose between him and my mom when I was growing up. He would have lost. Because guess what? She was all I knew for most of the time. She was the person I lived with. So I had allegiance to her. Now, as an adult, a grown man now, knowing both of their stories and all this, I have a different opinion about that. If I had to pick who I'll probably go mess with my dad first. And that's not saying I don't mess with my mom. It's just the idea of, as a child, your influences and your need of who is the person nurturing and taking care of you, you probably gonna gear toward them. So here a guy calling a child, texting a child, the child may not, even though the child know their dad and they know who it is, they may not pick up. They may not interact with the father because they know that's not a good thing in the house with the mom. It's not until they get to a point to be able to feel comfortable to do it, because remember, you the outside man a lot of times. You're not the inside man. Not like in Rohan's situation. Rohan is the inside man in his divorce. His kids know him more than they know his mom, their mama. So it's a very large difference in how that all plays out. So
I'll say this quick, Ron. I'll say this for fathers here. Your child is part of you. Your child is part of your creation. I always say this: men carry the children. My ex-wife said to me, I carried the child for 9 months. You're just a sperm donor, or what they call a sperm donor, or sperm.
Yeah.
She used a word, sperm donor. And I told her, but I gave you the child. I was one who put the child there. So I always say to men, we actually carry the children. Think about that for a second. And of course, the mom bring the child to life. Yeah, the mom hopefully bring the child to life. And that's what we talk about, the candy and the wrapper. Many times, many people are focused on the candy, which means the baby, but we forget about the wrapper, the mom. So they both go together. And even though it's very challenging sometimes based on finances and cultures and so forth, try your best to be in your child's life. It's hard. I'm telling you, as a father, it's tough, but try your best.
Man, I like Rohan. And I'm gonna let Burn go. I like Rohan's positive, half glass full, and try to take care of the candy and the wrapper. Man, the wrapper is going in the garbage, son.
Man,
it's the candy. Go ahead,
No, I'm glad we brought this topic. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone to the kids, because even the kids have a role in this.
Yes.
The child narrative in this, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. Remind me of that. Matter of fact, I think it's one of the best, one of the few fatherhood songs that exists. It's always most songs about motherhood, dear mama, mama, I miss you, blah, blah, blah. But they got very few fatherhood songs out there. And this particular one that resonates with me is The Cats and the Cradles and the Silver Spoon, right? And so that particular song actually resonates and speaks to this particular topic, because here it is, that song, the narration or the nuances of that particular song is the father, the son spends all his childhood trying to spend time with the father. Right? The father is always busy working and maybe have a few moments for the child. And so now, once the child grow up, the roles reverse. So now the father is chasing time with the son. Now that the son is adult, and the son does to the father exactly what the father did to the son. You understand? And so I'm saying that to say this: you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. Actually, and I experienced it because I have adult children. I truly do miss them, the nuances and the routines that I was used to. And so anytime if fathers can get past all that drama and fighting with their significant other and getting to the point when they start to fight for their family, you understand, and start to enjoy. And once you get past the fight for the family or with the family, and you start to enjoy the family, that's when the time go by so fast that you realize the significant, like, wow, I always told my kids that they're going to miss me when I'm gone. But guess what? Now that they're going, they start their lives being in college or marriage or whatever the case that thing brings them out of the house, you actually going to miss them when they're gone. And I think that's a nuance that, and an appreciation and a feeling that that sneaks up on us, because it's a gratitude that my kids can make it, but I sure missed the experience when they were here. And so that's the child perspective.
Light point. You make a really good, and listen, we as fathers, we recognize what mothers go through, and as mothers and husbands, we recognize what our wives and ourselves go through when our kids do leave and we become empty nesters with our kids. So this is something to think about. There's a lot of moms who, I was speaking to a good friend of mine here. This is her daughter's senior year of high school. And she said, this has been a long road. And she said she's doing everything this year with her daughter, because this the last hoorah. Because after a while, the girl gone. She know the girl is, she called her the girl too. She called her daughter the girl. It's funny. She said the girl gone. And I say, she will be, but she's not gone. She said, yeah, she will. Because when she comes back, she's her own adult, doing her own thing. It won't be the same experience that it is now, where I am the main provider. She kind of looks to what I'm saying, how I guide and what I teaching and guiding and disciplining her. She will have her own theories, her own belief systems, and what she learns in her own world. And it won't be the same when she come back for Thanksgiving after the first year of being in college. It won't be the same. It'll be a completely different woman. She'll be a woman. She won't.
Mom, I want tofu. I don't want that turkey.
Right.
That thing is fun.
And it's so much we think about it, it also becomes an effect on us, because guess what? We have given, and I'm saying this to the mothers because I know this, because I know a lot of mothers, they have given their whole life to a lot of these kids.
Right.
And when those kids are gone, they don't have nothing. I got a friend, got two sons, they both married, they got kids. And I had to talk to her and say, listen, what you gonna do with your life now? Because her life was them boys. Yeah. They got wives to do all the stuff that you still wanted to do. And she said, you know what, you're right. And it took her a while. I mean, it took her a while to just out of just leaving their business alone, not being involved with their life, let them be the men of their households with their own wives and now their own families. And now she got to find something to do. And she found some stuff to do to make more money, make trips and do that. But I said, listen, it's time for you to enjoy a lot more of your life, because you had these boys when you was young. You gave up a lot. So now you can go back and get a double take. You can get a retake of a lot of stuff. And guess what? Now you got the money for it. You got the means, you got the knowledge. You can listen, life is not over at 50, folks.
That's right.
You know, listen, if you're doing good, you can get to 80. That's 30 more years. You know what 30 more years is? And if you're really good and being really sensible, you can get to 90.
Yes.
What? Okay.
You know,
Comfortably.
Yeah.
You can get to 90 comfortably and be able to have the kind of life and things that you still want, because you made it. You made the mean. And guess what? To Lightborn's point, when it get too rough for you, guess who coming to make a decision on where you gonna stay and how you gonna get taken care of? Yeah. The same jokers that you took care of.
Yeah.
And you might find yourself, depending on how many of them you have and how successful they is, fighting over how, every season you might be in a different place.
I hear that.
In the fall, you may be down in Texas. Or in the spring, you may be in Massachusetts.
If you didn't do right by them, you'll be behind me at a nursing home.
That's right.
In
the summer, you might be in Chicago. And then in the winter, you down in sunny Florida.
Listen.
That's what you said. Come on, man. We got to keep it positive, man. We keep it positive.
Hold on here.
I knew Rod didn't hear me because he kept going. I knew he didn't.
A nursing home is also a positive thing. So remember, based on cultures, some folks don't want to be in the house.
Why can't see Ro out of this video? He look like a Marvel.
I don't know what's going on here, man. I know what's going on here. I'm here.
Yeah.
The nursing home.
Listen, you're right, Rohan. No, but everybody, man, tonight has been one of them days where when we talk about, and I love how Lightboard put it with the kids' perspective as far as that's concerned, because I'm definitely one who's felt that. Because like I said, when they were just here for the Thanksgiving, I was like, wow, my kids in the house. It was great to have them there. And everybody was like, how tall and how big they've gotten and how sophisticated looking they are. So it was definitely one of those moments. But yeah, we definitely gonna miss them when they're gone, and they're gonna miss us when we're gone as well. And that's in so many different ways. And I heard, I think it's Sean, right? Explosion, Sean. And this is those moments where when you are away from your son, God allows you to constantly feel that need to be present with him. And even though you may not know it, he feels the same way about you. Yeah. So I would tell you, just keep your head positive about that. Keep doing what it is you're doing. Stay focused on your child and not about her. And eventually you're going to get to a point where your child is going to want to spend the time with you more so than be with mom. And she's going to be mad as hell. But it's going to be that. And hopefully she realizes the value in that and allows you to be able to appreciate that and take advantage of that without necessarily having to go through the headache of trying to fight for that. Or as Rohan says, and we say here on Fatherhood, advocate for that. Because I think one of the biggest things is if you're with a woman who understands your value to your child, to both your child, you don't have to advocate for the child because she will understand your value. So I'm hoping that that is your case at some point, and it's sooner rather than later, and you ain't gotta punch nobody to get there. And Lightborn, as usual, you know, you can do your part because I know you want to say something because you are the science guy here. Go ahead.
No, you actually said it all. I couldn't give him no more better advice than you just gave him. I think Sean's a great guy. He got a lot to offer. I mean, the fact that he already built that bridge between him and his child, nothing could get between that. And now, the only thing can happen from time to time is the gate can come down. You can have a little congestion, but the road to fatherhood is already established through you and your son. So keep up the great work.
Great metaphor.
And just to quote a movie, you know, just to quote the example of what you were just talking about, Johnny. This was very clear in Boys in the Hood. You know, I know people may think about, and they watch Boys in the Hood and they think about, you know, well, Boys in the Hood is a classic movie to look at the structure of what it means to have a father in the house and not have a father.
Not have a father.
Matter of fact, it is a class. But most people don't even pay attention to that. They think it's like a gang movie or whatever, love story. But is it really? If you break this down, I mean, we can do a class on Boys in the Hood showing the importance of fathers and what fathers do, even when they're no longer in with the mother in that household. You know, because his mother. You know, when Trey went to go stay with Furious, right? Yeah. It was under duress that he went to go stay with Furious because mom said, I can't do this no more. You got to get this. I'm going to kill him. And he went to go stay with him. And then mom called Furious and said, hey, I think it's time for Trey to come back home and stay with me. You know, and she had bought him a car. She had gave him all these things that Furious wasn't giving him none of that. Getting straight, ain't nobody gonna give you nothing in the world, son. And it's so important to identify and recognize the importance of those, because both of Trey's parents did what they had to do, and they did it in a way that it needed to be done. You know, if Furious Styles and Trey's mom stayed together in that movie, he wouldn't have had to go to stay with nobody, because his dad would have handled that time frame. Listen, I know, because I'm dealing with multiple mothers and their sons right now, and even some of their daughters. Multiple sons and their daughters at these puberty ages where they're becoming emerging adults, and they need that other person who gonna not be, you know, nurturing. Who's gonna be more disciplined?
Who's gonna put a foot in there behind?
No, that's not what I mean. Teaching and guiding.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Hey, Johnny, in real form tonight, ain't he?
That teaching and guiding. That teaching and guiding.
And I kid you not, I used that movie as a model actually for my father.
I hear that.
Because I was actually a teenage father. I went and watched that movie at the Omni, and it resonated with me so much because when I graduated in May, I graduated in June. My son was born in May, and so I had I didn't have no point of reference of what it is, and not so much because I have a father. I have a great father. Matter of fact, I had a great father and a great stepfather, but I didn't have no point of reference of what it was to be a teen father.
Gotcha.
You understand? Yeah. And so if everybody think that every fatherhood appeals to you, I'm like, no. Because my father wasn't a teen father. My stepfather wasn't a teen father, but I am a teen father. So here's a totally different nuance, right? That nobody can give me answers for, even my counselor. I'm talking about, this is what I had on the table. May, my son was going to be born. June, I was going to graduate. Around March, I got a fully paid scholarship to Central State University in Wilberforce, Ohio. So here I am stuck between a rock and a hard place because nobody can tell me how to have all. I wanted to have all. I didn't just want to have some of it. I needed a formula to understand how to have, or a plan or a strategy on how to have all of it. I want my son. I want to graduate and get my diploma, and I want the fully paid scholarship to Central State University. And my counselor at that particular time, great guy, still a mentor to me right now. One of the best things that ever happened to me as far as the school system. told me I could have only, his best advice was I could only have one or the other. I thought at a particular time, I didn't know how to articulate, but at a particular time, I thought I deserved to have it all. You understand? And so I didn't feel, and even to this day, I'm like, even if I go back, I'm like, no, I still deserve, I should have it all. I shouldn't have all these great opportunities at my footstep, you know, at my, you know, in my hand rather, because I did get the scholarship and I was on slate to graduate, and my son was going to be born. He was born, but nobody told me how to have it all. And I think sometimes a black man saying he want to have it all, you understand, may the traumas of the history tells us we couldn't have it all. And so even in our some of my best mentors or whatever the case may be, couldn't figure out at that particular time to tell this young particular black man on how he can have it all. You understand? And it took time to realize and make me not regret the fact that, you know what, I should have chose this over that. I'm like, no, I wanted to have it all then, and I still believe I can have it all now, and I should have it all right now because I am worth it. And I think that message resonates with every other, not just every father, but particularly every black father. You can have it all, and you should have it all if you decide you want to give it all. You understand? And true to form, I did give all to everything that I particularly, because I had to make a choice, and I chose my son. I didn't choose the scholarship. I gave it up. And my son is 32 years old right now with his daughter, who's doing very well in school. You understand? So I don't regret one or the other, but the only thing I do regret is it just wasn't a formula for me as a particularly a black man coming out of school, getting ready to be a young teenage father, to have it all. And that's one of the things that I always prepare for in my narratives and different strategies, and what actually give birth to half of the stuff I say on this thing.
well, I think
I got a story that's involved in it. When growing up, we were living in Boynton. I was my older brother, my older sister, me, and my baby brother. My dad, he used to drink, get drunk, and then he wants to beat up on my mom, and we don't realize how that affects a child. To the point where my mom got where she couldn't take it anymore. She talked to us. She called down to Pompano. My grandmother came up that way and took us out of the situation. And the thing you heard, he knew where we were. He didn't show up to show any kind of concern for his children. Also, he called us up. I got toys for you around Christmas time. We go to Boynton. Talking to him, hey, you said you had some toys. Those toys, the 7-year-old, all beat up, but yet, he didn't step up to the plate. We went to real quick. We went to work on the farm. My granddaddy, my older brother, and I. Some kind of way, my father found out. So he was in New York at this time with his other woman. And he came down. He's looking and still didn't get the point of how that is affecting us as children. It hurts. And then he's trying to say he's gonna whoop on my brother. My brother's 16, 17 years old at that time. And that's when I also decided I would not be like him. I would do it so well for my children that what my dad was just something in history, no longer. He didn't come. He didn't come down from New York to visit again, but he was there at in New Jersey. Next time I saw him, this was 1971. 1971, he came down. No, he died. He died in 1971. Never got any closure. It still hurts me to this day. And that's why I say I step out for my kids, my daughter and my son. So I can see him. It's the stuff that he did us get through. He would get drunk on, and he used to throw the wine bottles or the beer cans and stuff like that underneath the bed that him and my mom slept in. So who gets hurt? It's the children.
Elder Thomas.
I cannot say that. I cannot say that. My mind is gone. I was saying that he never came up, died, and he also had a son out of wedlock. So I have a stepbrother. And I used to call him. I found out where he was living in New York, in Queens. I called him several times. I didn't hear anything from him. Next thing I know, now he's dead. Go ahead, Ron.
Well, Elder Thomas, I want to thank you for sharing that story, and I think that it will resonate for people, because what I'm going to say based on the story that you just told is something that I really feel strongly about, is that the story you just told about your father, and I'm asking you this question, but I want us to also think about, what did your father go through that he couldn't come around to be able to ever do what he needed to do for you guys? What was it that and I think that your father would have been born in when the
1930s.
1930s. So yeah. I want us also, and I'm very adamant about this as a therapist, for us to remind ourselves and remember our experience here in the country that we created, the country that we created. Remember our experience. And if your father was born in 1930, what was his experience? Being a black man, being born as a child in 1930, going through the 30s and the 40s, all these years, and what was his father like? Or did he like? I have to use this example all the time. I'm gonna give you a great example of the difference between Martin Luther King and Malcolm X that I like to talk about fatherhood wise. Malcolm X's father died. He knew his father was somewhat, but his father died being a freedom fighter, or being a preacher who was a nationalist for black nationalism, right? And the Klan or the Raiders killed him, and it guided Malcolm to be and go a whole nother way to become the leader that he became, right? Martin Luther King's father had always been there with him. And we see the steps that Martin Luther King, and the people say, oh, Martin Luther King was goody good too. No, Martin Luther King just had the right teaching and guiding of that person there, that he didn't have to go off track. He didn't have to go, all the time we notice that he thought first about his mother and his father. And you hear conversations about Martin Luther King talks about his, what he believed from his father and from his mother and from their experience and what happened. Malcolm X had to tell us in many instances, he had to take Elijah Muhammad to be his new father. that guide him to be who he was and what he wanted to be. And these are things so important. Just those two great leaders that we have in our community and how they got to where they got, looking at what some of the other factors of how they were able to become the men they were based on their own fathers. And so many times when I hear stories, especially like the one you're describing about your father, I'm so intrigued and curious about his father and what was the path to make your father get to be where he was, that he would even, I'm not, and people say, oh, here we go, Ron, ready to make excuses for people. And I'm not making an excuse, but I just want to say that when we look at the statistics of what was going on with a lot of, not just the black men in the world, all men in the 30s, late 30s and 40s. Because if you know history, you know what was going on then. Talking about the Depression, talking about all of these things, racism, Jim Crow, all these things, not just for black, but for all the people in America had problems. But black people, we know if they say, if the people had a cold, we have ammonia. So and you think about your dad, what your dad was going through, but we also see the power of God, I think, in what happens when if we have faith and we believe that we should do something different, we say, I'm going to not be like my father. So where the discipline of teaching and guiding that your father didn't exhort on you in a positive way, he exhorted it on you, and it still became a positive for you to say, I'm gonna make sure I'm not like him, and this is what I'm gonna do, and this is how I'm gonna do it, even though you don't know why he didn't do any of those things that he didn't do. I know we would love to figure it out, and I'm gonna close this out is with this statement saying that a lot of times many of us don't find out stuff about our fathers until their funeral.
Yeah.
So we get to hear secondhand information about how great our fathers was, the things they did, because he wasn't really involved in our life, maybe. Or wasn't involved in the way we wanted him to be. And then you are sitting at a funeral and people saying, he came and helped us do this, and he was always that and this and that. You have to say, and then somebody, you sitting in that audience, you saying, God, you can make you depressed saying, well, what was it that he didn't come and be with me, or why he didn't do he was taking care of all the whole community, kids in the whole community. How he didn't take care of me? And we don't know that story because we gotta figure out, because it only takes that. Hey, I love to hear the stories of the dads who get back with their kids after 30 years. 30-year-old kids looking for their dad, and they get back together and they have these great relationships.
I hear that.
And I'm only saying it because we understand that not all circumstances, because guess what? You have some dads who've been with their kids all 30 years and they have a wonderful experience.
True.
So it's always for the kids. And this is when we say the best benefit of the kids. It is always in the best benefit of the kids to have that closure in their life.
Yeah.
So their 30, the next 30 years they got in their life will be better from that answer they're going to get about what happened with their father and why their father maybe wasn't there, or what their father was there. Even when their fathers were there, why the father didn't do the things they think they should have did. Well, you don't know, because the only reason we was able to live in this house and do all these things is because I had to get up before you could even wake up in the morning, and I had to come home by the time you was already in bed. So we could just live. So you don't get, we sometimes don't get the full stories of what our fathers go through and what happens with them. And so I think that that's a great, this is a great way to kind of like end this conversation of, you're going to miss me when I'm gone, is saying, hey, how about let's don't miss him when he's gone. Let's go out and search and try to get to him now. That's both for fathers, that's for children, especially for the mothers who can make it happen. Mothers, you can make it happen. You are the gatekeeper to any relationship your child has with their father. Because even if you got to finesse him to come over there and come and get that kid, or you can be strong on him. Like I know some moms say, they pull over to the house, knock on the door, the dad open the door, Say, yeah, hey, y'all go in there with y'all dad. I'll be back in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
people say, oh, why would she do that? Because it's important.
Mhm.
It's important. Because he gonna step up. One thing I know about men in many instances, they step up when you give them the right opportunity to step up. If you don't give them the opportunity, they'll slip and slide all the way like slip and slide records.
Hey, real quick, Ron. I took the initiative to call him several times. And then he talked to me on the phone and say, "Oh, okay, Tom, I'm gonna send you some money so y'all can come up to visit me in New York." I'm still waiting on that money.
Well, I hear you, Elder Thomas, but did you ever think about this? Do you see that? Do you see the pattern of what he did? He led with what he thought was important. Let me get some money to send y'all to, instead of just saying, Thomas, how you doing, son? How's school going? Listen, because he didn't know how to do it. He knew to do what we realized that fathers back then provide. The provide was money, not to nurture you. And I'm pretty sure today, if he would have said, hey, how y'all, like you said, and I think about how you said that thing about your dad and your brother. He wanted to beat your brother, right?
Yes.
That's what he knew. I would assume that that's what he knew. That's how he knew to maybe even know how to show love. And we don't think about that. We think that he's just abusive. But sometimes that's what he learned how the best way to show. Listen, we all know every one of y'all guys on here. You can say whatever you want. That little honey sweetheart in elementary school, pre-K, first grade, used to hit her, pull her hair, tap her. All because we didn't know how to give affection then. We didn't know how to show intimacy. What we knew is punch, poke, kick, and because I like them. So I'm gonna do everything to them to make them. But then that's not how we learn how. That later on, if your dad tell you, son, you don't hit the girl. You like her. You tell her you like her. Get her some flowers.
That's a great point. That's a very great point. That's one of the things that I used to lead with my son always was just to let him know I loved him, that I was there for him, that I cared. His mother sometimes was spewing some of the other stuff in his ear. Your daddy's not showing up. You know, you see he didn't come to this game, or he's not giving us any money, or he's not doing. And all I would say was, "Hey, son, I love you. Hey, I'm here for you. You need to call me. Call me. I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna show up."
Yeah.
And that's really what built the bridge and the foundation for what we have to this day. Because even as a kid, I mean, my son, I think, was about 5 years old. He would say to me, he said, "Dad, man, mom always says, you a mean man. You not nice and this." He said, "But I just can't put it together in my mind because every time you come here, you see me, you nice. You always talk good to me. Everybody always likes you. I just can't put it together. I think you're good." He said, "Matter of fact, why don't you come live with us?" I said, "Son, I can't do that." I said, but I'm always gonna be there for you. And I said, and I want you to know, if you don't know anything else, I want you to know that I love you. Right. And like you said, sometimes, because of history, because of trauma, because of, that stuff that you're talking about, we weren't maybe taught that in some instances, depending on our upbringing. So I think you make a great point there, and that has been the bridge for me and my son over the years, where, again, it started young. So when he was young, I had to show him that early, right? Because, again, I couldn't be there all the time. So he had to at least know, hey, I care.
See that.
Yeah.
Hey, I love it, Sean. I love that you said. I mean, like I said, I love when new fathers come because they have perspective that us old guys on here all the time don't have, and it really shares what you're saying is so much on point. Not just for fathers not in the house, but also for father in the house. Because sometimes you can be absent and you cannot give your kid and your mom, your wife be saying your dad ain't got no time for y'all.
Yep.
And your kids in the house saying, I ain't gonna ask dad to help me with my homework because mom already said he ain't got no time for it. So it ain't just the ones outside the house, it's all of us. And we have to sometimes initiate the love. But again, we are better educated than the generation before us, and the generation before them, because there is no playbook. There's no playbook for parenting, period. There's no, I used to teach a parenting class. The stuff they tell you to do, that stuff is that you get your kids back if DHS got them. But real parenting don't operate like that. And even though as fathers we don't have a playbook, neither do moms most of the time. Moms just make it work, because my mom just made it work the best way she could. It wasn't all good, it wasn't all bad, but that's all we had. Right?
Yeah.
And we see that with families who stay together, both parents. You got what they had. You know, James Evans in Florida. You got JJ, Thelma, Michael, they got what they had. That fictional family, but I'm using that as an example. People cannot have, and you get what they have, and outside of how to get both. So I think that it's a great conversation tonight. Listen, folks, if you enjoyed this conversation, like, share, subscribe, join our page. And fathers, if you are watching and you catch this tonight, you catch it tomorrow before 6 o'clock, meet us on the Zoom. The Zoom is in the chat, right? If you go down on this page, your Zoom is in the chat. Come on and let's have a little bit more detailed conversation about some of the stuff we talked about tonight. Like Elder Thomas told that story. Elder Thomas signed the release for that. So you got a lawyer here to make sure Elder Thomas signed the release. But if you come to the private meeting, you can tell any stories you want. It's what's told in that room is for us to talk about and for us to help and process just the way I kind of process it with Elder Thomas, because sometimes we need to process that way. Because as children, we are curious. We don't get answers to things. And especially at Sean's son age, 11 years old, they got nothing but questions. And we forget about the socialization of all where they're in school with other kids. If your son go to a good school, right? If you got a child, they go to the good school, and everybody else in the school staying home with mama and daddy, your child is gonna have a complex, an anxiety, they're gonna have a problem, and they need answers for that. And we gotta know that. We can't just think they okay because they're in a good school. They might not be doing good grades because why? Because everybody else talking about my daddy gonna do this. Daddy and Donuts Day coming. My daddy gonna be here. Oh, me and my mom, my daddy, we went to Disney World. And meanwhile, you gotta say, yeah, I gotta go to my dad. Hoping my daddy come. My mama said he ain't gonna come. If my daddy come, she said he busy with his new chick. He ain't got time for me. Just those kind of things. This can be the salt in the salt in the cake, in the sweet cake, and Okay, so listen, I know I'm looking at the time. We get time to wrap up, but listen, this was a great conversation tonight, man. And again, like I said to you, when you watch this and you see these titles, you say, yeah, I know what it's going to be. And it's never exactly what you think it's going to be. So with that being said, fathers, repeat after me. I am a man of honor.
I am a man of honor.
I am a man of courage.
I am a man of courage.
I say I am a man of respect.
I am a man of respect.
Come on, fathers. I said that I am.
I
say that you are.
You are.
I say, let's use the NFL. I say that we are.
We are.
Championship
fathers.
Yeah.
Back, LJ, get the title back.
I gotta get it back, baby.
And just so people know in the audience, just so you know, we do this chant every meeting we have, so it can cover fathers until the next time we meet, and so they can be thinking about that they're a man of honor, courage, and respect.
All right.
That they have those things, and that they are a championship father. Because if you don't think you're a championship father, you can't be a championship father. That
Right.
being said, good night, and we'll see you if you're coming on tomorrow night. We'll see them tomorrow night. If not, we'll see you next week right here at Fatherhood Think Tank.
All
All right.
right,
Thank you, guys.
All
All
right.
right.
All right.
Right.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Take care, fellas.
Have a great
Blessings.
one.
All right.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.